And let's talk about it today. How are you doing today?
I'm great. A little tired, but
That's
great
what I'm.
nonetheless. I mean, it's an exciting day, right? Yesterday,
Yes.
the Senate passed legislation to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. The House is expected to pass it, and the president is expected to sign it today. So by the end of the day, Juneteenth could be a federal holiday.
Well, I saw an update that the House did pass it. It was 415 or 414 to 15, 415 to 14.
Oh, okay, so we're just waiting on President Biden to sign it.
Yes, sir. So we're one step closer.
Yeah, one step closer.
And so today's an abbreviated show, so I don't want to waste your time because you all have a lot of events coming up. This year, you are doing a virtual celebration for Juneteenth.
Right. We're virtual again this year, and we've expanded to 4 days. It started on yesterday. And for anybody who wants to go back and see yesterday's shows, you can check them out on our Facebook page. We had about an hour long afternoon session that was had a couple of musicians, some poets, just a bunch of different exciting activities from 1 till about 2. And then at 7 o'clock last night, we had a panel discussion on the state of the Black community in Central Arkansas. It was a really interesting conversation. And like I said, anybody who wants to check that out can go on our Facebook page and they can see the stream from yesterday. Now,
Okay.
today we're going to do today's day. Today is focused on our health. So we're dealing with health and wellness. So we have of course, some more music. We have a young lady who's going to teach us some yoga stretches to help relieve stress and tension. We're going to talk about COVID and how it's affected us. We're going to show you some activities for your kids to get active and move around. So we got a lot of stuff planned. That starts at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
And then
I'm
tonight,
um
I'm sorry.
I'm updating the flyer like because it can get lost in the feed, so I'm putting the flyer back
Oh,
on
okay,
top
okay.
of it
And then
in case they.
tonight at 7, we're doing a panel discussion with Dr. Geraldine Jones, Sharonda Love, the director of Minority Health Commission, um, Charmaine Beasley, a therapist. We're going to talk about COVID and how it had affected us mentally and physically, right? So we always think about the physical aspect of COVID, but we never think about how it affected us mentally, right? Being
Hmm.
isolated for a year and all of the loss and death that we had to deal with, right? And our world has changed forever. And being able to deal with that mentally is something that we need to talk about.
Yes, sir. And another aspect of that, people were still dealing with their own mental health and other life issues, health related issues. There was maybe loss of income. There
Right.
was just changing work dynamics, changing family dynamics. And so, and then people had to spend more time. I know this sounds crazy, but had to spend more time with someone they weren't used to spending. Now it's like the children and the mother and or the father, whatever the case may be.
Right.
They're all
Right.
together in a small space, and we often leave out the children in the scenario. Their life has shifted, and so I think everybody deserves to be a part of this, of the conversation. And like, how did it affect you mentally? So that's a great. I know it's going to be a great discussion.
Yeah, and it's going to be live streamed on our Facebook page. So you should tune in and see what these heavy hitters in the health and wellness field are talking about. And then on tomorrow, we're talking Black business, right? We're talking about um, historic Ninth Street. We're talking about some local Black businesses here in Little Rock. And then tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, we have a panel discussion about making the most of your personal network, right? We
Oh,
always talk about networking when it comes to business, but what about your personal networks, right? So we all have personal networks, and so how to utilize that to get the most out of those personal networks, even if you want to do it for business, how to get that started, right? How to get funding, how to find funding, and how to navigate the laws and all of those things that are associated with starting businesses.
okay.
And then on
All right.
Saturday, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
I get to going about this, and I just ramble. But on Saturday is it's our big day, right? It's our big Juneteenth day. We're gonna emulate as close as possible to what we would do out on 9th Street on a non-pandemic Juneteenth. So
Okay.
we have, messages from the governor and the mayor of Little Rock. We have someone reading the governor's proclamation. We have my nephew will be reading the Emancipation Proclamation. And then we have a poem by our Black History Month Artist of the Year. Well, yeah, Artist of the Year, Marquise McFerguson.
Okay.
And he wrote a poem about the history of Juneteenth, right? He took a bunch of research that I had completed, and then he read that and he wrote a poem about it. And it's called Why We Celebrate. It's really amazing. And that's going to be broadcast tonight too. Saturday afternoon. And then we have music by local artists Off the Cuff, Rodney Block, Akeem Kemp, Bijou, and the Big John Miller Band. So some of Central Arkansas's finest musicians will be performing live from the museum. So we're going to live stream it from the museum. So it'll actually be live this year. So that's a little something different that we're doing last year, different than last year. So we're really excited about what we have to offer everybody.
That's absolutely amazing. So how many years has the Mosaic Templars been honoring and recognizing Juneteenth?
Since 2009. We've been doing it for 12 years.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, we learn something new every year. So we're getting bigger and better every year. We're really excited about that. And, I'm really also excited about all the Juneteenth activity that's going on around the state this year, right? You guys have your thing up in Northeast Arkansas. There's stuff going on in Northwest Arkansas. I mean, Fayetteville made it a city holiday. And then there's something going on in Dumas and Southeast Arkansas. I think there's 3 or 4 events going on here in Central Arkansas. So there's just lots of Juneteenth activity going on around the state. I love the energy associated with Juneteenth. It's just, it really makes me smile because I can remember when we were the only people doing anything and, we were getting, 1,000, 2,000 people. But like I said, last year, we had over 20,000 views on our Juneteenth broadcast. So, it's amazing the energy. And this was around the world, right? Japan, South Africa, Norway, England. So it was, a lot of people. Really excited about that.
That's amazing. And we're hosting our own. This year we're doing more in person. We're taking a chance and getting out there. And so tonight we're doing a kickoff and then Friday worship service and Saturday's our big event. But like you said, I love seeing the energy and the people are grasping onto Juneteenth more. I don't remember ever, unless I slept through that part of class, I don't remember hearing anything about Juneteenth growing up. It wasn't celebrated, it wasn't talked about. Of course, we talked about the aspects of slavery and the emancipation, but the celebration of it all, the recognition, that wasn't highlighted. Even in college, I didn't learn anything about Juneteenth itself.
My family didn't even celebrate Juneteenth. And, it's interesting how things cycle, right? So early on, from like 1866 to the 1940s, African Americans celebrated Juneteenth. They, whether you call it Juneteenth, Jubilee, Emancipation Day, Freedom Day, whatever you call it, people celebrate. But during World War II and the Civil Rights Movement, African Americans, they started the Double V campaign, right? So victory at home, victory abroad. And so part of the victory at home was they elevated the celebration of the 4th of July to try and show white America that Black people were loyal, patriot Americans. And so that kind of diminished the celebration of Juneteenth. But in the late 80s, early 90s, Juneteenth started to rise in prominence again. And then you see we are where we are now, right? Last year with the Black Lives Matter movement, Juneteenth exploded. And I think it was the energy from Black Lives Matter that pushed Juneteenth to the prominence that it is now, with being recognized as a federal holiday.
Yes, sir. Now, for those that are still on the fence, want to say on the fence, they still have questions, doubts, whatever they feel about Juneteenth. And this goes for Black, white, and other. What would you say to them on how they can get involved? That's one part of the question. And then two is directly for the Black community. Um, how can we get the families more involved and the children more engaged so that the legacy doesn't die?
Yeah, I think so. To answer your first question, I think find a Juneteenth festival and go to it, right? I think that's the first step. Go to it, see how people are celebrating it, and then do the work, right? It's always about doing the work. Find an article, read an article, find something to read. There's an amazing clip um, from Blackish. Did you see that episode of Blackish that they did the Juneteenth special?
Mm-hmm.
So, right, the Roots little commercial that's in the style of Schoolhouse Rock really gives a great introduction to Juneteenth. Watch it, find out what it's about, and then go do the work. And as far as getting families involved, I mean, take your kids to a Juneteenth celebration, right? Because I think we weren't fortunate, at least when I was growing up, we weren't fortunate enough to have Juneteenth celebrations going on everywhere around town. So now take your kids to a Juneteenth celebration. Let them see what it's about. Talk about Black history in the home again, right? So let's bring Black history back home. We're worried about legislatures banning the teaching of Black history in schools, but let's do that work at home, right? Let's carve out 30 minutes a week and talk to our kids about the history, our history, who we are as a people. Go to Mosaic Templars, our website, and get the information to teach your kids about who we are and where we come from and where we're going. And then that's how you get that work done, and you keep the legacy of Juneteenth, but not only Juneteenth, but the rich history of African Americans in this country.
Yes, sir. And like even in our city, Jonesboro, we have a Black History Museum or Culture Center. It's a smaller space, but it's rich in history of the people who helped make moves right here in the city. And so that's the start for here. Um, we push when we talk about Kwanzaa, and that's a family affair. Let's make Juneteenth and other celebrations that highlight the African American experience or Black experience, whatever word you want to use. Let's push all of them and incorporate them into our daily lives and our family lives. Yesterday I had a conversation with some local ministers who are leaders in our community, and they talked about or we talked about legacy building and keeping, all of this going, and how back, as you mentioned, in the 40s, 50s, 60s, people talked with each other. They talked to their kids. They made it was inclusive. No one, well, unless they didn't want to know the information, was left out of the
Right,
conversation.
right.
Um, and so we kind of got to get back to that village, as they mentioned before. And I feel like this too. I want to see that village mentality come back, where we're talking to each other, not just our immediate family, but our brothers and sisters who look like us.
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation about something meaningful and purposeful, um, to try to help grow and empower our people.
You're so right about that. I mean, what is the saying? No man is an island unto himself. Um, we have to build back the sense of community that once existed within our community. And I'm not sure where we lost it. Maybe it was in the 80s, which was the me decade. Um, but we need to get back to that where we're looking out for one another and building a community, and not just living in the community, but building a community.
Yes, sir. And I want to say this, and I've said this for years, um, and I say it boldly. Just because I'm pro me doesn't mean I'm anti everything else.
There
And
you
so
go.
I just want to say to people who are not Black, we're not excluding you from anything. We just want we deserve the right to celebrate us and celebrate the struggles that our people have overcome and gone through. That's all it is a celebration.
And you know, and that's the thing. It's like I don't know of any Juneteenth event that excludes non-black people. Like we want you to come and celebrate it with us because, like, we are a celebratory people. We like celebrating. You know, we want some food and some music, and let's have some fun. You know, it doesn't take a lot for us to have a celebration. You know, here in the office, um, you know, you never know. You may find out it may be three people eating lunch in the conference room. The next thing you know, there's music playing and the entire staff is having lunch together. So that's just, you know, part of our culture, part of who we are as a people. We gladly invite you to celebrate Juneteenth with us.
Most definitely.
Everybody can't come to the barbecue, but you can all come to Juneteenth.
Okay. I want to say good morning. Sorry I'm not overlooking y'all. To my sister Gwen Henderson, Mr. Derek Coleman, Miss Linda Johnson Frazier, and everyone else out there watching and listening. Thank you so much for checking in. If you don't live in Jonesboro, if you live closer to Little Rock, go check out the. Well, no, you can't go in person, but check out the virtual celebration that's
And
happening.
we will be open that day.
Okay, you will be open.
Right, because we're still wanting people to come see the Green Book exhibit.
Oh yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're close to Little Rock, go out to the Mosaic Templars Cultural Center. If you're not near Little Rock, there's so many celebrations happening around Arkansas. Type in Juneteenth in Arkansas on Facebook, and I guarantee you'll find a flyer. One of my friends in Pine Bluff has been really great about collecting and posting all of the events that are happening. So someone somewhere has the information.
You know, hey, just popped in my head. Let's build a Juneteenth network in the state of Arkansas, right? So that we can work together and you know, because you have ideas that we don't have, and we may have ideas that you don't have, and we all can't do everybody can't be at everybody's event, but you know, we can be you can have a little bit of mosaics at Jonesboro's Juneteenth event, and we can have a little bit of Jonesboro's event. So you know, that's something we can look forward to doing in the future. The future is building this Juneteenth network.
I'm all for that. Next year will be our year 5. And me and the station manager, we were talking about some bigger things we would like to do and to expand. So I'm definitely going to be reaching out for those ideas and ways to do things. And, this is a community affair. It's not just the Mosaics thing. It's not just the Kelly K thing. It's not just whatever
Right.
organization is the host. It's a community affair. We want everyone to be involved as much as possible. So,
And the thing is, we do it for the community, right? We do it for the community, and that's I can't emphasize that enough. This is we don't put on the event for us. This is a community event. We want community engagement, involvement, and we want people to know that this is for them.
that's right. Well, I want to say thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get ready to end here soon. Thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, please check out. So you could recap, quickly recap the events for today,
Yeah.
tomorrow,
So
and
to,
Saturday.
so today we have at 1 o'clock our Juneteenth broadcast featuring music and yoga and cooking demonstrations and activities to get your kids moving. All of that. It starts at 1 o'clock. At 7 o'clock, we have a panel discussion about COVID in the Black community, how it affected us physically and mentally. Starts at 7 o'clock. That's a live streamed event.
Okay.
On Friday, we have our 1 o'clock broadcast about Black business in Arkansas. And then at 7 o'clock, we have a panel discussion about making the most of your personal network. And then on Saturday, starting at 1 o'clock, we have our normal Juneteenth event with, speeches, music, just the whole nine. So we're
Okay.
really excited about that. If anybody wants to get more information, they can go to our Facebook page, Mosaic Templars, go to our website, mosaictemplarcenter.com, or call us at 501-683-3593.
Okay, we have a comment here from Cedric Coleman. He says, now that it is a law and a holiday on a bipartisan vote, Juneteenth festivals here in Jonesboro should be combined. C- Communities in all areas. I guess you mean, okay. I want to thank Kelly K for the years of this Juneteenth festival. Hopefully, we can increase the event citywide. Yeah, that's our goal, is to make it a citywide celebration. We know with anything, there's always going to be people, there's always going to be outliers that are just not going to celebrate, period. Black, white, other. They're just not. But for those that want to celebrate with us, with Mosaic, with Kelly K, with whatever city you live in, if there's no Juneteenth celebration in your city,
Part one.
organize one. You know,
Yeah.
get together with some other civic organizations and just put something together. It doesn't take a whole lot of money. We can attest to that. But yeah. So, Mr. Brayan, thank you so much, and thank you for all the hard work. And again, we want to mention the Green Book. Don't forget to go see
Don't
that
forget the Green Book.
exhibit.
Yeah.
So, everyone, thank you so much for listening, for watching, for tuning in. Mr. Brayan, thank you for your time. I know you're busy, busy, busy. I know that the young lady I spoke with the last time, she mentioned there's another exhibit or something coming called the Overground Railroad.
Yeah, July 27th, the curator of the Green Book exhibit, her name is Candace Taylor. She wrote a book called The Overground Railroad, and she'll be here doing a talk on the 27th. Now, here's the beauty. Like, some good things came out of COVID. We're going to live stream that event, so you don't have to drive to Little Rock to see it. We'll live stream it on our Facebook page. You can see it, and I'll send you a flyer when we get that ready, so that you can post it on your website so that everyone will know, hey, let me tune in and see this, because she's an amazing speaker. I had the pleasure of hosting a book talk with her for the American Library Association, and she's an amazing researcher, historian, social commentator, just amazing.
Well, hopefully we can collaborate and get an interview with her as well, with you all. We work this out somehow. So,
Yeah, we
but
definitely try.
that's our time for today. So thank you, everybody. I hope you have a great and blessed day.
Thank
Okay,
you.
let me stop the live.
Okay.
Okay.